Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Ninja Turtle, and today we are jumping back into the anime realm, specifically my favorite anime, Neon Genesis Evangelion. I made a pretty much last minute decision to move up Ritsuko Akagi as a custom that I'm making. I was going to be doing it later this year and decided, no, let's do it now. It's been too long since we've made things in this franchise, so let's go ahead and get her done now. And so, if you watched my last Evangelion video, which was on Rei Ayanami, and I do appreciate, I think John was the only one that said anything about who I should do, but he said pick Ritsuko, so Ritsuko it is. We're doing Ritsuko. I've done Ritsuko, she's over with. So we're going to talk about these two customs that I made. So before, I've made customs on Evangelion. I've only made one of each character, Misato, Rei, and Asuka. But I have two Ritsukos today. Not because I love Ritsuko so much that I decided to make more than the other ones. It's more of I'm in my new philosophy or new strategy with customs that I want to make as many as I can at one time of one character so that they can all look similar and have the same kind of skin tone and hair color and so on, and that way they can be a little bit more consistent. So I made two Ritsukos, one the main one like her in the lab coat, and then first episode of Evangelion, she's swimming, she has like her bathing suit, and this is her in her bathing suit. Now she does wear a lab coat immediately after getting out of that water, because she was like scuba diving, and she puts on her lab coat and still has a swimsuit on. So I decided to not put her in another lab coat just because she already has one. I want to see all of Ritsuko, and that's the only reason why I decided to not do a lab coat for this version here. So no, I mean technically, yeah, when she gets out of the water, she does do this look like this before she puts her lab coat on. We just never see it in the anime, obviously. But we'll go ahead and talk about this build for both of these, and go into a little bit detail of how they came to be, and then we'll talk about more Evangelion stuff and look at comparisons of my previous customs of Evangelion. Alright, getting it right into it, we're going to start at the bottom. So again, they are very similar builds. If anything, they are the exact same build, with the major difference is feet. For the most part, everything else is the same body part, or relatively the same body part, but she's taller, the lab coat's taller because she has on her heels. So these heels are specifically the ones that come on, they're on the Moira McTaggart now. They're on the House of X Jean Grey. They're also on the Peggy Carter figure. So they come like that. They're actually sculpted onto there with this, the skin, or in this case leggings, showing the separation there. So they actually come that way. So it just makes for easy painting. Though I will say this, because these legs aren't the legs that go with these shoes. They usually are a little bit thinner. They're different ones. They're shorter. I went with a little bit longer leg for a different reason. I'll get into that. But in general, these swivel legs don't typically fit these shoes. I did try to use genuine Hasbro shoes like this, but they don't fit. They're actually they're like they wobble. They just don't fit onto the peg on these legs. But these are resin copies of those shoes from Moira McTaggart or whatever. So because they are resin copies, I end up dremeling a hole in them to have them fit into whatever leg I'm going to be using. And in this case, it's the swivel leg, and it fits because of the Dremel bit that I use fits the peg that I'm using, or going to have to fit it into. So it just works out that way. Going over here to bikini or swimsuit, Ritsuko, these are bare feet, obviously, but these are not the typical bare feet that you would find on a Hasbro Marvel Legends figure. They're, in fact, these are not from a Marvel Legends figure. These feet, finally getting a chance to use them. I bought them like 2 years ago. They come off of the Ghostbusters, which is Hasbro, but the Ghostbusters figure for, I don't even know the name of the character. I will put a picture up, but she came out during that Ghostbusters wave that they had a couple years ago, and I was super desperate for bare feet on a female figure because they hardly have made any female figures in Marvel Legends with bare feet. And when I saw this, I jumped on that Ghostbusters figure. So these are resin copies of those feet. Now, since then, again, 2 years ago, this is the first time I'm actually using these feet on a figure. And again, I have had them for 2 years. Since then, they've released the Megan figure from the Excalibur 3-pack, who also has bare feet. And I've been using those on more recent customs with bare feet or sandals or what have you. Those Marvel Legends feet are actually bigger than these. So I now have small feet and big feet. And I went with small feet for Ritsuko because she's not that tall of a person. I could have gone either way. It just kind of just personal preference. But I wanted an excuse to use the small feet because I hadn't done it yet. So small feet here. Again, resin copies, dremelled a hole in there, and they fit with these swivel legs. So that being said, let's go up to the build. Now I did swivel legs. Both cases, these are from the goth boots like X23 and from Magic, those sort of things. Had to dremel off all of the detail of the goth boots and smooth them out so that they look like regular legs. Again, using resources that I have available instead of buying specifically legs that don't have that stuff on there, or could have used other legs as well, but again, using what I have available, and I got plenty of those boots. Thighs, Moira McTaggart thighs, or again, Marvel Girl, those sorts of thighs. Longer, not very muscular thighs, and that's the same on both figures. Lower torso, this is going to be easier to see on swimsuit. Lower torso is a Blink, Psylocke, Walgreens, Emma Frost, one of those torsos. That's what that lower torso is on both sides. This one obviously has the skirt, so the skirt comes from the Moira McTaggart figure, which I then repainted black. I also cut off the top of it. There's actually a lot going on with Moira McTaggart, which I have. I don't have a great picture, unfortunately. I'll just reference what's on screen, the picture from the official picture. So the actual skirt is from that Moira, repainted black. I cut off the top of it so it fits her torso a little bit better. So it's a little bit shorter on the top side. It still would go down about this length regardless on her thighs, but it leaves more room of her lower torso exposed. That said, this belt comes from the Walgreens Emma Frost. Completely just ripped it right off of that figure. No modifications whatsoever. It's already looking that way. It's not glued on. It is loose. It's just, and when I put it together, torso, then skirt, then belt, and then put the upper torso on the lower torso. Then there is a strip of epoxy sculpt on the lower and upper torso going down just for the detail there. And lastly, on the lower torso, the pin and the hips on both figures was replaced from a Kate Bishop figure. So specifically because the pin for the hips on these Blinks, these Psylocks, whatever, is shorter in general. So if I use these legs on that shorter pin, it would be sucked in even more. They wouldn't have that gap. So it does look weird a little bit. Granted, I get you, having that gap there. But if that was a shorter pin, her hips would be in there. So you wouldn't get this curvature right here that you see going on her hips, like where it's just perfectly aligned. It would actually be sucked in even more, and it would look really awkward it would look worse than what this does here. I actually don't mind because, you know, it's painted, so all of that, it looks fine. But I did that on both sides, both figures, so both of those pins were replaced with a longer Kate Bishop style pin. Upper torso on this one is like your Lady Deadpool, Shikla. Specifically, this one's actually from Shriek. So this was fully black before, but this is a Shriek upper torso with standard arms, just your regular Kate Bishop type of arm. This one is the arms from off of Dazzler, so the rolled up sleeves. Now, I know it's not accurate to Ritsuko because her sleeves will go down to here past her, like halfway down her forearm, but I don't think it was worth the effort to try to make it that specifically perfect sort of thing. So this works just fine. She doesn't have any details on her arms, no jewelry or anything like that. Maybe her fingernails are painted. That's something I didn't look at immediately. Upper torso on this one is just your standard Kate Bishop. I think this one is specifically from Dark Star, but any old Kate Bishop will work. Again, sculpted this little ring for her shirt. That's like her zipper. This little triangle thing in her shirt as well is sculpted on. The actual jacket itself comes from the Moira McTaggart. It's white with all this, you know, the pins here. That's just how it comes. Unfortunately, the jacket is just the way it is from Moira McTaggart. Ritsuko's jacket actually goes down lower. It goes lower, like past her legs, or past her knees, I think. But, you know, I don't think it was worth it to find something. I don't even think Hasbro even makes a jacket that long for a female figure. So it is what it is. But it's totally fine. Speaking of which, the Moira skirt has that slit on the side. It is covered up fairly well by the jacket, so it is not visible, and I didn't modify that part whatsoever. Backside is whatever. The white on this figure, on the jacket, does not match the white that I painted onto these sleeves, but again, you know, I can the only way to have made it match, if I would have had to have primed and painted the jacket and then use the same color white on the jacket and on the sleeves, which I think is just too much effort in general. So I just, you know, it's just not going to match. It's totally fine with me. Going up to the upper torso, or excuse me, the head now. Same face and everything. I did fully sculpt the front part of the hair. So the back part of the hair is actually from a Moira. Do I have one? Alright, yeah. It wasn't this Moira specifically. It was the other Moira head that has the glasses, because this one has this the hat on there. But if you imagine, I just took the back part of the Moira hair. There's just the back side of it, and that's the back of each of these hair. That is all Moira hair back here. I do this like every video, don't I? Alright, so yeah, the back of her hair is just the back of Moira's hair. The front part with the bangs and just a little bit that's up top here, that's all sculpted by me. So basically about halfway from here going front is my hard sculpt, epoxy sculpt. That said, for starters, one, I did a really poor job of gluing the hair onto the head, the Moira hair, so it's actually really off center. Yeah, it's just off a little bit on both of them. I think this one's a little bit better than the other one, but it is not perfectly glued on there. And secondly, I did sculpt her bangs. Those are hard sculpted bangs with the same hard sculpt, so it's not perfect on each side either, but you know, anime bangs are hard to work with in the first place. But yeah, it's there. I made earrings with resin plastic that I had just sitting around, so those earrings are just plastic and glued onto the ears. And lastly, the face itself is from Deadly Origins Black Widow. Finally using that head for something, because I have plenty of them and I never got around to figuring out who it would work on. I actually wanted to use the Moira head. That was originally the plan, is to make Moira into Ritsuko. It didn't work specifically because whatever reason these heads are just kind of small. So when I put them on these upper torsos, it fits on the peg, but it didn't go down enough. It just made her have a super long neck, so it didn't look right. This head was a nice find, I guess. It looks decent. It fits on this upper torso just fine, and yeah, I think it works for Ritsuko just fine. Not perfect, but I like it. And then the paint, all the paint details are, done by hand. The lipstick, the eye color, the eyebrows didn't come out super perfect, but it's hard to do that by hand. And lastly, I didn't really show the back side of the swimsuit off, and yeah, that's about it. I think it looks pretty good. The all of this pattern, I'm pretty sure the back is out just like this. That's why I did that. And again, yeah, I didn't want to cover all of this up with, especially if I was going to paint this kind of detail, I didn't want to cover it up with a lab coat. So she doesn't have a lab coat. So that's the only reason why I wanted her out like that. So let's go ahead and wrap this up with a Evangelion comparison, and we can get out of here. All right, I've tried my best to get everyone on camera. Oops, and I say that, and I forgot the most important person here. All right, so all of these are customs made by me. We have Rei Ayanami on the far left in the background. She is being held up by a figure stand. For whatever reason, she just doesn't stand very well. It could be the staff or the lance. It could be for other reasons. I'm not sure, but she doesn't stand very well on her own for very long. We got Asuka Langley Soryu. We have our Ritsuko Akagi in her swimsuit, Ritsuko Akagi and the lab coat, and Misato Katsuragi and her classic black dress with Pen on the far right. All of these were customs, again, made by myself. They do reflect a change in style as well as materials over time. The first one I made was Misato. Actually, no. What? Dang. Was it right? Was it? No. It was Asuka? Asuka was first. I think Asuka was first. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Asuka was first. If not, I'm not sure. But Asuka, then Misato and Pen, and then Rei was the most recent, and now we have Ritsuko Akagi. So as far as scale and things go, she's a little further back, but she is the shortest legitimately, and I think she should actually be shorter than this. So I'm definitely going to be repainting this because there's a lot of issues with it, and then I have an opportunity to make her shorter. I'm not sure if I want to mess around with Asuka yet. I might change her face. I might, because I didn't sculpt that hair. I kind of just cobbled pieces together. There's, the whole Mod Podge thing of it all that I want to modify and so on. But we'll see. I still kind of like my figure. Obviously, I'm not going to touch these two for what it's worth. Just finish them. This one, though, she's definitely going to get repainted. Misato, for sure. Her skin tone is whack. It's really bad. And it was fine at the time, but this is not what I want from Misato. She doesn't have any lip color, so I'm definitely going to be changing that. And Mod Podge all over the place. But really, Ritsuko and Misato should be the same height. Right now, Ritsuko is a little bit taller than this Misato. And I'm going to rechange my whole build for Misato. For what it's worth, it's going to be similar to this, but I'm going to swap around the legs a little bit. Excuse me. But yeah, for what it's worth, I am definitely going to be doing more Misato in the future. But the actual next Evangelion thing, because obviously I got all these ladies up here, I'm missing another lady. It's actually Mari. I'm going to do Mari, whatever the hell her name is, from the Rebuild series, and her pink plug suit, and then her white one from Thrice Upon a Time. And I'm actually planning on watching the Rebuild movies again very soon, so I'm going to keep my eye out for other Mari outfits that are like casual, like her schoolgirl outfit. I might make that, or something else that it might pop up. But yeah, I'm waiting for Thrice Upon a Time to release on home video first. And then I will overlook and see what I can do for Mari. But obviously, the Shinji of it all, I was really waiting. I want to make Shinji. I still do. I was hoping that the Franklin Richards, Valeria Richards pack was going to have a younger male body, but they went with like the Pizza Spider-Man body for him, I think. So that's way too tall. Like, Shinji should be a little taller than Rei, but shorter than Asuka. And using a Pizza Spider-Man, it would be like as this high, like too tall, way too tall. And then Kid Omega, I was hoping he'd be on a kid body, but he's on I think he's on a Sunfire body or something like that. It's just too tall. So I'm still waiting. I'm going to be patient here. I do want to make Shinji. I wouldn't mind attempting a Gendo. It might happen. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually do it. So I'm not forgetting about the fellas, but of course the ladies are a very prominent part of Evangelion. I got Pin. I don't need any more guys, really. But yeah, the next ones will be Mari, and then after that I'll probably circle around to Misato to repaint her and then do more outfits for her. As far as Ritsuko's go, she does have her short hair look in the Rebuild movies. That's in the future part of it. I'm not crazy about that look, and I'm not crazy about Ritsuko in the Rebuild series, because she kind of barely is there and is not very important. In the original series, that's a whole nother story. So I prefer original Ritsuko over Rebuild Ritsuko by a mile. So, but as far as new outfits, there are other casual outfits of Ritsuko in the original series, but I wasn't crazy enough about them to make them right now or ever. So if I do change my mind, I can always come back and make more Ritsuko. But for what it's worth, I'm satisfied with these two, and I don't expect to make any more Ritsuko figures. But definitely more Misato, more Asuka, more Rei for sure are happening. Make sure you are staying tuned. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more anime figures made by myself, as well as comic book, Marvel Legends, Marvel stuff, DC stuff, video game stuff. I'm going to be doing Resident Evil stuff in the near future, sometime, no specific date. Resident Evil stuff and other things like Marvel vs. Capcom, Devil May Cry, Tomb Raider, other things in video gaming. So make sure you hit the like button on this video. Leave a comment below. Let me know, do you like my no lab coat Ritsuko? And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.